Hello, kiddos. I need you sitting up in good LLP. Everybody, nothing in your hands, no piddling. We're gonna just jump right into this lesson. Before we start, let's review some subtraction strategies. We've talked about estimating and rounding. In fact, let me solve this one with estimating. 31 rounds to 30. 28 rounds to 30. 30 minus 30 is 0. So that tells me I should get a pretty small answer. All right, so I have 1 on top. I can't do it, right? More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. And so then I have 11. I don't know if you can see that 1 there. 11 minus 8 is 3. Okay, that's reasonable, right? So we've talked about that. We could also use that to solve this problem. 231 rounds to 200. 128 rounds to 100. So we should hopefully, remember I didn't teach you friendly numbers, so we might not get close, but hopefully we will. Okay. So I noticed that there's ones, tens, and hundreds in this one. Does that matter? It actually doesn't. It could go all the way to millions. We know everything we need to know to solve this problem. Okay, now I'm looking at my ones first. Remember, you'll have trouble by the tons if you don't start with the ones. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. So now I have 11 minus 8 is 3. 2 minus 2 is nothing. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So 103. And those are reasonable, right? Let's do it again. So 523 rounds to about 500. 297 rounds to about 300. 500 minus 300 is 200. So our difference, or our answer, hopefully is going to be around 200. Now, I'm still seeing some of you guys put 4 here when you see this. What's wrong with that? Pause the video and talk to your neighbor about why 4 is not the answer here. Okay, so for subtraction, we always have to start with the top number. This doesn't say 7 subtract 3. This says 3 subtract 7. And we can't do it. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 13 minus 7 is 6. Now we have another problem because now I didn't make that 1 in a very good location. Now I have 1 minus 9 and I can't do that. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. So now I have 11 minus 9 is 2. And 4 minus 2 is 2. See, it's just like we've been doing, but with bigger numbers. All right. So I want you to pause the video. Don't get out of control. Stretch a little bit. Come back and meet me. You're just going to watch what I'm doing. Okay, so I just want you to watch this. We're going to do combine place values to subtract. So it's a cool thing that you can do, but it's not the algorithm. So I'm going to show you what it is. I'm going to show you that it's cool. And then we're going to move on to the regular algorithm. Okay? So it says Elena collected 431 bottles for recycling. Pete collected 227 fewer bottles than Elena. How many bottles did Pete collect? What do I need to find out? I need to know how many bottles Pete collected. Whoops, that's terrible handwriting there. There's kind of a period there. Okay, circle the numbers we need to use. Well, Elena collected the larger number, and it was 431. And then Pete collected the smaller number, which was 227 fewer. That's not how many he collected. We're looking for how many bottles he collected. Okay, so the first thing that we could do is estimate these numbers. 431 estimates to 400, 227 estimates to 200, 400 minus 200 is about 200. Now, because of the magic of 10, we can combine place values and subtract. We can think of this as instead of 431 subtract 27, let me write it larger up here. Okay, we can think of this as 31 subtract 27, right? And then I could just count up from 27. Put 27 in my head, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, and so then I would have 4 here, right? Or I could even do my go next door, get 10 more. Okay, and then I can do 4 minus 2 is 2. So 204 would be the answer. Now, to me, is it cool? Yes. Is it the best strategy to use? No. I'm going to show you another one so I can say I've taught it and you can say you've learned it, but it's just another way to do math, and I think it makes it harder to think about this when you're doing bigger numbers. So we already did this. Okay, let's do 513 subtract 482. I would estimate this to 500 minus 500 equals 0. Okay, now it's probably not going to be 0, but that will tell me that my answer is probably pretty low. Okay, so it tells us to subtract the ones first. 3 minus 2 is 1. Then it tells us to put these two together, 48 and 51. Okay, so if I subtract those out, I can put 48 in my head and count up to 51. 48, 49, 50, 51. So 3. So 31. Now, I've showed you that you can do that because of the magic of 10, but we're not actually going to do that as part of our practice today. It's not the best way to do it. All right, let's look at some more examples. The real way we'll do it, and then your sub will pass out your guided practice papers and we'll work some together. Okay, so this actually is the strategy we're going to use, place value. We also call it the algorithm. If you want to impress a grown-up today, when they say, hey, what'd you learn today? We use the standard algorithm to subtract. They're going to be really impressed, and they might not even know what that means. But let me show you. We do it all the time. 1 minus 8, I can't do it, right? More on the floor, go next door and get 10 more. So 11 minus 8 is 3. And 4 minus 4 is nothing. And 8 minus 4 is 4. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now you can absolutely combine place values. We're not doing that. Look at your neighbor and say, we are not doing that. We're just going to practice with the algorithm. It's going to make us better math students. Okay, so again, oh, this is the same problem. I'm supposed to show you how you'll get the same answer, which I'll do, but we're not using this. Okay, so because if I look at these and I combine them, 85 and 44 are not very close to each other, are they? But 48 and 51 are pretty close to each other, and that's the goal. When you see numbers that are close together, you can say, okay, well, 48 and 51 are close together. Let me count up from 48, 49, 50, 51. So I got 3. Now I will have to put that 0 placeholder in, and this is what, to me, makes it more confusing. 8 minus 4 is 4. So you can see I got the same answer because of the magic of 10, but I don't see how it's any easier. All right, pause the video. Your substitute's going to hand out your guided practice page, and we're going to work some of these together. Are you ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? Okay, so look at problem number 1. It already says combine place values to find 506, subtract 274. We're not doing that. But I will go ahead and estimate it out. 406 rounds to 400. 274 rounds to 300. 400 minus 300 is 100. So hopefully our difference, which is our answer to our subtraction problem, will be around 100. All right, 6, subtract 4. Oh, I can totally do that and I have 2 left over. Oh no, we have drama queen 0 here. Okay, if I have 0, none, can I subtract 7 from that? No. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 10 subtract 7 is 3. And 3 subtract 2 is 1. Okay, 132. All right, now I want you to pause the video, please, and work number 2. And then I'm going to work it for you when you come back, and you can check your answer. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is estimate. 595 estimates to about 600. 286 rounds to about 300. 600 minus 300 is 300. So hopefully our answer, and there's where our estimate goes. Some of you guys are putting your difference up here. This is not your difference. This says estimate. Okay, that's when we round numbers. All of your numbers in your estimate section should have a bunch of zeros after them. Now let's actually subtract. 5 minus 6. I have 5 little fingers right there. Can I subtract 6 from that? No. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 15 minus 6 is 9. 8 minus 8 is 0. And 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, so that's reasonable. Our estimate was 300 and our difference was 309. Okay, pause the video and do the next one. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the estimate. 728 is about 700. 515 is about 500. 700 minus 500 is 200. So hopefully our difference will be about 200. Here's where my estimate goes. See, it's a number followed by some zeros. Okay, so you'll have trouble by the tons if you don't start with the ones. 8 minus 5 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. Okay, so that's reasonable. 213 and 200 are close together. Let's look at the next one. Pause it, work it, and then let's see if you're right. Are you getting these right? I hope so. So important. Okay, so 543 rounds to about 500. 307 rounds to about 300. 500 minus 300 is 200. So our estimate is 200. Now hopefully you guys can do these in your head and you really don't have to write these down anymore. But I mean, I guess if you do need to write them down, write them down. Okay, now talk to your neighbors about why the answer in the one column is not 4. Pause the video. Okay, this doesn't say 7 subtract 3. 3 is on top. We have to start with 3, and we can't subtract 7. That's where we say more on the floor, go next door, and get 10 more. So then I have 13 subtract 7 is 6. I have 3 tens left. Minus 0 tens is 3 tens, and 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay. Pause the video and work the next one. What do you notice about this top number? Yeah, it's already estimated. All right, let's round 453. Okay, so it has a 5 in the tens place. 5 or more, add 1 more. So we're going to round that to 500. So our estimate would be about 100. Uh-oh. Dum, dum, dum! Do you know what to do? Oh my goodness. Well, let's look. We've got Drama Queen 0 in the middle. Okay, so more on the floor, go next door and get 10 more, but my neighbor has nothing. So my neighbor is going to go next door and get 10 more. So then my neighbor has 10. Okay, my neighbor can subtract, but I still can't. So I need to go over to my neighbor and say, hey, listen, you've got 10. You need to give me one so I can subtract. Okay, so then he'll have 9 left, and now I have 10. 10 subtract 3 is 7. 9 subtract 5 is 4. And 5 subtract 4 is 1. Okay, it's difficult to subtract across zeros, but we'll practice it. Oh, I see another Drama Queen 0. Subtracting across zeros, I love it. All right, pause the video for, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes. Work all of these. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then I will meet you back and I will let you check your answers. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is 438 rounds to 400, 257 rounds to 300. So my estimate is about 100. 8 minus 7 is 1. 3 minus 5, can't do it. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. So that's 13 minus 5 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So my estimate was kind of off a lot, wasn't it? It was off so much that I'm like, am I really right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my two small numbers, add them together, and see if I get 438. If I do, then I'm right. I'm only checking and guessing myself because I got so far off of the estimate. So 257 plus 181. 7 plus 1 is 8. That's 13. Okay, so I am right. It just didn't look right. Okay, so this is about 700. This is about 700. So my estimate's going to be about 0. Ignore Bonnie. 6 minus 1 is 5. Bonnie, quit being a guard dog. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 10 minus 8 is 2. So 25. Let me go get her to stop. Good gravy. All right, so 839 subtract 754. 839 rounds to about 800. 754 rounds to about 800. So we should have a pretty small answer for this one too. Okay, so 9 minus 4 is 5. I can't subtract here. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. So 13 subtract 8. 5 is 8. So 85. To me, I'm not sure that seems reasonable, but let me just go ahead and check it with addition real fast. I know, you guys. That's 9. Yeah, 839. That's right. Okay, 916, subtract 558. Oh, we've got 8 on the bottom. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 16 minus 8 is 8. 8, that's 10 minus 5 is 5. And 8 minus 5 is 3. Oh, I forgot to estimate. Okay, so 916 rounds to about 900, 558 rounds to about 600, 900 minus 600 is 300, so yeah, that seems reasonable. Trucking right along. This rounds to about 500, this rounds to about 400, so my estimate's 100. We'll see if I'm close. Okay, so more on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 17 minus 8 is 9. 2 minus 2 is nothing. 5 minus 4 is 1. So yeah, my estimate is very reasonable. Okay, 528 rounds to about 500. 297 rounds to about 300. 500 minus 300 is 200. Okay, so I don't have to regroup on this one. 8 minus 7 is 1. Oh, I do have to regroup on this. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 12 minus 9 is 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. So yeah, my estimate was reasonable on that as well. Okay, 734 rounds to about 700. 327 rounds to about 300. 700 minus 300 is 400, so that's my estimate. Hopefully my answer will be close. Okay, more on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 14 minus 7 is 7. 2 minus 2 is 0. And then 7 minus 3 is 4. So yeah, that's totally reasonable. Dum, dum, dum! Oh boy, look at this one. Okay, so 800 is about 800. 789 is about 800. So my estimate's 0, so my answer's probably going to be pretty small. Now I'm going to show you the trick to subtracting across 0. You'll remember when we do it on Math Minutes, I tell you to drop a 9 in the middle. Okay, so this guy has hundreds. He has 8 of them, so I'm going to mark it out. Okay, now when he's passing out and sharing so that these other columns can subtract, he's going to drop a 9 here and drop a 10 there. Okay, 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. So 11. All right, let's very quickly work through the rest of these together, and then you are ready to start your assignment. 457 rounds to about 500. 364 rounds to about 400. So that equals 100. It says then solve. Okay, so 457 minus 364. 7 minus 4 is 3. More on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. That's 9. 93. Okay, so if there are any like this on your assignment today, I'm just going to mark those out. Not that they're not important, because it is so important to know how to estimate. But there's just not going to be room on your paper for you to do all that jazz. So we'll just focus on solving the problems. All right. May the force be with you. Take your time and do your best. Your assignment's in Seesaw.